name's Robin Lambert, I'm 19 years old and living with cerebral palsy, but you guys know me as the T-Rex, and you're watching My T-Rex Life. Okay guys, recently on the social medias, Instagram, Tumblr, blah blah blah, all of which you guys should follow, I will link them down below. I've been getting asked a lot about me being a part-time wheelchair user, why I decided to start using a wheelchair, how has it affected my life, and about my family and if they were supportive of this decision. So I am going to answer those questions today and do a little video about why I am a part-time wheelchair user. So as you know, I have cerebral palsy, which affects the muscles in my legs, and I am ambulant, I can walk, but over the last couple of years I have been a part-time wheelchair user. I also use wheelchairs for sport, so depending on what I'm doing will depend on whether I have both wheelchairs or blah blah blah. So yeah, the reason I started to do this was really because I got to a point in my life where the way that I was walking was actually doing a lot of damage to my muscles and my bones and all of that kind of stuff. And I was in pain a lot of the time. And I was at risk of that pain turning into chronic pain and being really, really hard to deal with. And also, I'm such an active person, I do so much sport that from a full day of walking, I just didn't have the energy at the end of the day to then go on and do those things that I love and those things that I'm passionate about. So, through talking with doctors and my physios and stuff, we decided that it would be a good idea for me to have a wheelchair to use part-time. This meant that I wasn't pushing my body to extremes and I wasn't exhausted by the end of the day. And it also meant that, I could use the time in the wheelchair to help settle down any areas that were inflamed or whatever. And so when I actually did want to walk, I wasn't walking with pain. And actually my form was actually a lot better when I was using the wheelchair part-time because, when I was walking, I was in the best shape to walk. So I was actually able to walk to the best of my ability. Now, I did face criticism from some people, from some medical professionals and stuff like that, because there is still a strong belief that if you have the ability to walk, you should maintain that over everything else. And for me and my family, the most important thing is quality of life. And we weren't being able to get the most out of the day because, I was always tired or in pain. And, we're a very active family and we wanted to be able to do things like go on walks and, just be out and about. And I couldn't afford to do that all day without, really paying for it the next day or whatever. So by having this wheelchair, we're able to go out and about. We're still able to do all of the things that we used to do and more because, we're not constantly worried about, oh, okay, I've got to take a break now, or, oh, this really hurts, I've got to sit down now. We can just go, and we can just get the most out of that day. Now, I honestly do believe, me personally, as someone who is ambulant, that I should maintain that mobility. Because for me, sometimes it is easier to walk, and I do have that privilege of being able to decide in which situation it is easier for me to walk and which is easier for me to push. Because I certainly don't think it's easier in all circumstances for me to be in a wheelchair. So I do make sure that, I maintain strength in my legs and I am walking enough to maintain that ability. But, if it ever comes to a point where it is just easier to use a wheelchair full time, that is not something I'm against. For me, I would rather take quality of life over everything else. And for me, quality of life is being able to get out and about and being able to do lots and lots of different activities. And, being able to go where I want to go regardless of the state that my body is in at that current time. As for my family, like I said, they were really supportive because I used a wheelchair up until I was about 9, probably 70 to 80% of the time, because my ability to walk really wasn't that great. And then also in England, because it was cold, I was in a lot more pain and stuff like that. And when we moved to Australia, we decided new life, new beginnings, let's try without the wheelchair for a while. So, they were used to me having a wheelchair and me using a wheelchair. And for them, again, it was just about how can we, get the most out of every day and how can we, do the most and be the happiest. And so they were really supportive. It wasn't really a big deal for them at all. And it wasn't like I was trading anything or giving anything up or, succumbing to anything. It was just hey, you know what, this might be a way to improve my life, so let's go ahead and do it. Now, I will say that it is very, very important if you're considering, using a wheelchair quite regularly, to get a wheelchair that is custom built to your measurements, if you can afford it, you know, and is gonna match your lifestyle. The first ever chair that I had, I'm super grateful for having it because, like I said, it got me from point A to point B, and you know, I was able to use it on those days where it was just not going to be happening for me to be walking everywhere. So, you know, I'm very glad that I was able to get it, but it was a really big, bulky thing that really just didn't match my active lifestyle. And it kind of took away some of my independence because I wasn't able to push myself around for a full day because it was actually so heavy. I wasn't able to go up and down curbs because the center of balance and everything was completely off. So, you know, I had to rely on other people to kind of push me around sometimes, which I really don't like because I'm an independent person, and you know, if I was walking, I'd be able to choose exactly where I wanted to go, and I want that same ability when I'm in a wheelchair. But recently I got a brand new wheelchair that's super small and compact. It's really, really light and sporty, and I've just been going everywhere in it. You know, I've been going up and down curbs, and it has really, really improved my quality of life again. And I think also it's super important to have a chair that's set up for you right, because if it's not, it can actually do more damage. So, you know, if your legs are, you know, not doing so good and you want to go in a wheelchair and you've got an ill-fitting wheelchair, it can actually damage your shoulders and things like that too. So you definitely don't want that, and you know, you don't want to have bad posture in it and that kind of thing. So, you know, it's got to match up, you know what I mean? And like I said, I go through periods where I use my wheelchair a lot more. You know, if I'm very busy and I'm, you know, traveling, or, you know, I'm competing a lot, I will use my chair more because it's just a more efficient and quick way for me to get around. And then I go through periods where I don't use it for a little while because, you know, my legs are doing good and I just want to be, you know, a bit more free and a little bit more spontaneous. But yeah, that's really sort of how I came about it. For me, it really wasn't a big decision, maybe because I've had that experience of using a wheelchair before and I know what it's like. But it wasn't really something that we stressed over, and it was just like, it made sense to us. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any more questions, let me know in the comment section down below. And remember to like and subscribe. But most of all, remember to stay shiny guys, because I love yous.